I started working with the Yellow Pages, if that says anything. So I was transitioning people in my local community from Tampa Bay to Naples. That was my area. And I was working with business owners and getting them to transition from the phone book and print to digital. They're great at putting roofs on houses and clearing lots and teaching in schools. And they're great at what they do, but they're not good digital marketers.
Hey there, product marketers. Welcome to GTM Happy Hour, where I meet with experts from product to marketing, sales to success. Product marketing is evolving into go-to-market strategy leadership, and PMMs are having to find ways to connect with the cross-functional team members they need to lead go-to-market launches. I'm Jamie Walsh. I'm a product marketing and go-to-market advisor who's been in B2B SaaS for over 20 years. Over that time, I've had quite a few drinks with the experts that I admired, and it helped me grow to where I am today. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Today, Delilah Adrian joined the show to share her extensive experience in demand generation and digital marketing. She discusses the different experiences she's had in B2B and B2C marketing, the evolution of content marketing, and the importance of building trust with leads. Delilah emphasizes personalized communication, how she uses various tools and technologies to enhance her marketing efforts, and also highlights the significance of networking and community engagement, and how a special venue can make the difference. Let's grab a drink. All right. Well, thanks for joining the show today, Delilah. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm
No
excited.
problem at all. And you're in the Florida, Tampa area, right?
Yeah, I'm in Tampa Bay, a little south. I'm gonna
Yeah.
crack this open with my nails.
Yeah. Okay. So because I forgot to shop today, I am stuck with the old familiar Miller Lite,
Classic.
but it gets the job done, right? So
Yeah. No, definitely
there's
classic.
there's no promo, but it's the OG, right?
Yep.
And what did you bring today?
I'm a big fan of mom water.
Okay.
It's refreshing. It's really light, obviously. It's like a flavored water. This is strawberry kiwi, but it's beach and pool season here, so gotta stay
Nice.
hydrated.
I had one. Cheers. So I had one peach White Claw, but my wife called dibs on it, so I wasn't allowed to touch it.
Yeah,
Man,
White Claws are great too.
yeah, it's that time of year. We've been having cold and rainy weather here in Pittsburgh, so we're trying to will the sun to come, and tomorrow it's supposed to finally come. But well, why don't you tell everyone that's going to be watching what it is that you do, and we'll talk a little bit more about where you came from.
Okay, my name's Delilah Adrian, and I am in demand generation. I am the Senior Director of Demand Generation and Education with Iron Market. So Iron Market owns several brands and has been really well established in this area. And they brought me on to head up business development and growth for the demand generation brand Black Box LG, and then also just got promoted to help grow our brand for Education Ascent, which is providing continued education, content, courses, and programs for the architects, engineers, and builder community, but also with lead generation tied in with educational content pieces.
So the show is primarily for product marketers that are being asked to lead more of the go-to-market process itself in strategy and execution. So tell us a little bit about your experience with product marketers, where you've had that and where you've had it.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I definitely have had a lot of, experiences with different marketing teams, but I haven't had too much one-on-one with product marketers because I haven't necessarily been in SaaS, I guess, so much, those other areas where that's going to be more predominant. Mainly my background has been in digital marketing consulting, so pretty broad around search and SEO, PPC, websites, content creation. So I
Okay.
haven't had the luxury working with a lot of product marketers yet, but definitely very familiar with the whole go to market in terms of, building brand awareness and in new markets. And
So let me ask a question. So if in the absence of a product marketer, there's still somebody that's
developing the core products that you sell or the offerings that you sell, correct? Whatever they may be, educational
Mm,
services
yes.
or what have you, right? So maybe talk about that experience and translating that into the the copy or whatever it might be that you're going to be putting out in ads or in other forms of demand generation.
Yeah, so I guess in my world, it was more along the lines of working with the teams of, different brands like Serta Simmons Bedding or Anderson Windows or Benjamin Moore's of the world. I did a lot of that in channel partner marketing where we would go out to the market and help activate local areas to help push and drive sales for those brands. So we would very often have weekly, you know, monthly calls with their teams going over, ad copy, messaging, creative, keeping our eye on, all the things that are getting approved, and then finally putting everything together um, into some of like the landing pages that we would use to go out to market with.
Okay. And who ultimately was responsible for the messaging, for example? Was that solely put on you? Was there a product owner or a founder or something like that that was heading that up?
Yeah, that would be with the internal marketing teams at the organizations that we would be working with.
Okay.
So it would be a team of marketers working together. So I didn't necessarily have insight on the individual persons that were doing that, but I mean it would vary per department and for each brand. So
What are the things that you enjoy doing in demand generation?
the things I really like about working in demand gen, especially with the agency that I'm with now, is that we're very vertical agnostic. So every day and every conversation can be so different. I can be working with construction software company, head of growth, talking about going after, a new market in EMEA, or I could be talking to the content team and, the CEO of a startup SaaS company that's launching AI that, helps to organize data for clinical trials to, a publishing company that, is trying to sell digital advertising to, X types of businesses in Canada. It just varies. It's so different. So I get to learn a little bit about so many different verticals on a regular basis. So it's not boring. So it's definitely always something to learn. And I really enjoy learning new things.
Would you say you've got a variety of both B2B and B2C experience, even maybe direct D2C, direct to consumer experience?
Yeah, I would definitely say strong background in B2C. That's kind of where I got established in marketing, and then it graduated into the B2B world for sure.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I just noticed that you have cocktail drinks on your shirt.
I'm trying to be on brand.
Yeah, that is very definitely on brand. That's good for the show. I want to make it a little bit different. What's something that you found was a complete disaster? And you don't have to name names or anything like that, but maybe just walk through something that you were just like, shit, this is not going well. Something that, okay, I survived that. I'm gonna move on.
I think, when I made the transition to from SMB to mid-market enterprise, they're totally different, right? And so it's maybe like the imposter syndrome kind of got me because I'm very passionate about marketing and sales and consulting and digital advertising, and I'm very much self-taught and very much learn on the job. I've learned a lot. I've developed I think a lot of skills down the road, and maybe just kind of like doubting myself when things don't work as quickly in B2B or in enterprise as they do. And even if you're running B2B marketing at scale, you're going to see things move faster. So I think getting adjusted to the longer sales cycles, the different types of personas, and getting really familiar with just the whole dynamic of B2B enterprise just being so much different. That was something that, had some growing pains, I guess I should say, but definitely adapted.
Yeah. Now, you had something that went pretty well for you this week.
Yeah, so actually just closed a opportunity to launch a campaign for a prospect that I had met in Vegas. And so I just think that that was a win because they weren't in a position to move forward with a campaign initially. They knew that they were going to be transitioning to a CRO role, and they had kind of gone initially to really understand what was out there in the marketplace in terms of like lead gen and making their transition. So I think, building trust immediately was very, very important in our conversations. And then also staying persistent and providing value and continuing to follow up with them. And then now we're getting ready to launch this campaign, and we worked out all of the filters for content syndication campaign to work on their commercial side of the business. And yeah, I'd say that's a win.
Walk me through a little bit about your secret sauce, like the process that you've gone through that like now is like clockwork and you can do it with your eyes closed. You've done it dozens of times, but talk through how you get from an idea to putting something out there and monitoring it.
Um, yeah, I guess, I mean, transparently, my role is as in my positions is really on like new business development at the end of the day. Like I'm bringing in opportunities through my consulting and through my advocacy of the brands that I work with. But I would just say like just kind of like a consistent process of like the prospecting to continuing to provide value and doing really good discoveries, and then like the follow up and the follow through. I feel like I could talk about digital marketing in my sleep. So I really enjoy it. I'm really passionate about it. So it comes very easily. I'm also very like people oriented. I come from a background in mental health. So like really trying to like understand people and where they're at and how they feel and like how to approach things. I feel pretty confident in that and in my ability of working with different people and people from different backgrounds. So yeah, I mean, as soon as I am in a place where, if I have to learn a new product or a new type of service that can be provided, then I feel like I have the framework and the foundation to be able to put that into play. And I mean, kind of essentially have my own go to market in terms of, developing that new business.
So what tools, like name drop some of the tools that you're using on a regular basis? Let's start with the prospecting, right? What are you using
Yeah.
to do prospecting?
Now I've been using some AI tools, right? Like chat has been kind of helpful. Of course, it needs a lot of finessing and a lot of massaging to really kind of get things right for you and kind of really learn about what you're looking for. That's been helpful in tangent with obviously Google search. Like the other day, if I might be looking for specific types of like agencies that might have a gap that I could fill in terms of providing content syndication, if they're doing B2B marketing and they're doing content and they're doing PPC and they're doing account-based marketing, or also I'll use Zoom info. I'm not entirely, confident on all of these providers. I think that it's really helpful to triangulate information, but when you have one source, then that's something that I'll definitely use if I need to grab an email or want to create a list for an outbound. And then HubSpot is my favorite. I like HubSpot.
Yeah. Are you using it for the email outbound or do you use some other tool?
Yeah. Yeah, so I use it for outbound. It's really great for creating, templates and uploading your documents, like very easy, streamlining things, tracking deals, tracking revenue, creating sequences, monitoring, behaviors, keeping you on tasks with things that you need to do for your follow-up. So I think that's been really user friendly. Kind of grew up on Salesforce, but in the last several years, I moved over to HubSpot, and yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. What's what's the one thing that people assume that you do that just is not in your sort of wheelhouse? Like what are some of the crazy things that somebody has come to you to do and you're like
Mhm.
that I can't I don't do that.
Well, I will say maybe sometimes people have us confused when we're having conversations with some people, maybe at events. We make it very clear that like we're not scraping lists on LinkedIn, that we work with owned databases. So a lot of people think that like lead generation is they're used to cheap vendors that are literally scraping LinkedIn or scraping lists for information and not using actual compliant opt-in databases. So that's something that sometimes I'll have to educate people on. Because in the demand gen space, there are a lot of vendors and companies out there that are not doing things the most compliant way. So they're used to kind of like cheap tricks. So that's kind of like an education piece. And then, yeah, recently, I think at a lot of events that we've gone to, it does come up about marketing to consumers using our approach. And we technically, I mean, we're all B2B, but there is instances where if someone needs to target basically a consumer product by professional personas, then there is some wiggle room there, but
Yeah. I've
just
heard
focus
people
on B2B.
I've heard people refer to that as B2B2C, right? It's that you are B2B, you're selling to companies, and your relationship is with the company who in turn is selling to a consumer, right?
Yeah, I did that a lot in the channel partner marketing space for sure.
Take me back to the educating people on the list building. So you talked about the compliance aspect of it, and I think that that's if you can go into that a little bit, I think a lot of people do misunderstand some of that, and maybe there's an opportunity for you to talk about what you know, how it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the difference is really I mean, there's several different things that make us a little bit unique, but I'm not here to pitch my company, but
No,
um
no, it's okay.
okay. A lot there are companies that will go out there and they'll literally scrape LinkedIn and they'll scrape, databases like Zoom info and then they will sell those as leads or might not actually get actual humans to engage with the content, download the content, and fill out the gated form fill and answer qualifying questions. So that's where you get a lot of people that say, "Hey, I don't remember filling that out," or all of those all of those complaints. We've seen companies because we've vetted out several of these organizations ourselves through trial and error. They'll find dead people that don't even exist anymore and sell them as a lead. So yeah. So I really like that I'm part of an organization that is really doing things in a truly ethical way, and just trying to be the best of the best.
So these are real life people, verified, right? Verified contact information like their LinkedIn, their email, their phone number in a lot of cases, right? And I think I said they're opted in, right, at this
Yeah,
point.
they're already opted in through first and third party
Mhm.
and databases where they already have permission to be
Mhm.
marketed to and to receive emails. So it's a lot easier to get through to those individuals when they've given you permission and they're not just an email on a LinkedIn profile.
And did I understand you correctly that you also do some of the qualification? So as a product marketer, I would talk about who's our ideal customer profile, as well as who is the typical buyer persona or some of the champions and other people in a buying group. In an enterprise purchase, there's going to be multiple people that have to make the decision. So are you verifying that and doing some of that qualification in terms of what they're dealing with? Do they resonate with a particular problem? Do they fit the ideal customer profile? Is that what I understand?
Yeah, no, for sure. So for the content syndication programs that we run through Discovery, we definitely have those conversations about the buying committee, about the buying group, who's involved in those decisions, who are they having those interactions with, who basically needs to be in the room when this is a topic that's being explored by that account. And then we'll identify those stakeholders and do a match rate against them. And then we also want to make sure that the content that we're syndicating is also going to be relevant to those audiences because then you can also like segment, the campaigns. And if you're going to go after like different personas within the buying group, I mean, sometimes, I mean, you can get so granular and different points and different benefits are going to resonate with different positions within an organization. The things that matter to a CEO are going to be different to a CTO, to a CFO, to the CMO. Like they're all going to have different drivers for their decision making. So, yeah, you can get pretty granular, but I like having those conversations and really digging into and refining the targeting to make sure that we're hitting those people in the buying committee that truly matter in the buying decision process.
Now, is your team developing the content that's going to be syndicated? or are you relying on your client to provide that information and you'll work out the negotiation with the content
Yeah.
syndication company?
So most of the time, clients will have their own content that's ready, or they'll already have really great content, but they can repurpose it for the particular campaign. However, we do have content creation teams that are in-house and they're fantastic. They can do webinars, they can do ebooks, they can do thought leadership articles. I mean, we can do literally anything when it comes to creating the content, but I would say most of the time we're working with companies that have a really great, marketing team and they do have content to work with. So, and that obviously provides savings on their end where their only cost is the CPL of the lead and there's nothing overhead or outside of that.
Now, Delilah, you've been doing marketing for quite some time, right? So this is roughly 16 years
I started
or
in
13.
14. Yeah.
Okay. And so over that time period, right, you've probably seen a lot of changes and trends of the content that people are using as a strategy, right? Right.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like old school webinars and thought leadership white papers and ebooks, and I've been through that. And
Yeah.
over time, there's a lot more social media engagement and content that's being put out there in a short form video, mid-size video,
Mhm.
podcasting like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about, I know the content part is, I don't want to say it's an add-on, but it sounds like it's somewhat of an add-on. A lot of times your clients are already providing the content strategy or the medium that they're going to use. But maybe talk a little bit about how you've seen that progress over your career.
I mean, the evolution's been crazy over the past decade, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Been insane. I mean, at first, oh man. I mean, I started working with the Yellow Pages, if that says anything. So I was transitioning people in my local community from Tampa Bay to Naples. That was my area. And I was working with business owners and getting them to transition from the phone book and print to digital. And a lot of people thought, my cousin, my brother's gonna make my website. I have a website. Everyone's gonna find my website because they made it in their basement. They finally, they're gonna make my website, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So then, that's when I kind of really started learning about how important it is to educate these business owners because they're great at putting roofs on houses and clearing lots and teaching in schools and like they're great at what they do, but they're not good digital marketers. So yeah, how to educate them about, if you have a website, you have to market that website. You need SEO. If you want people to find your website or landing page now, like on Google, then you have to pay for clicks. So yeah, it used to be about getting found on Google. And everyone knew that if you're not on the first page of Google, then we had a joke. If you're on the second or third page, it's like that's where you find dead bodies. Like that's no one goes to the third page of Google to find anything. And if they do, they're cheapskate, like they're tire kicker or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I mean a lot of people they were just new to websites when I started and they were learning about Google and just not really maybe trusting it so much. And then now you have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's video format, short form content, YouTube. It's like a multi-channel thing. And then also understanding which channels that you should be on is on case by case too. I think B2C brands need to be in different places. And then B2B brands, is Facebook for them? Some might arguably say yes, but I personally don't really see a big space for B2B on Facebook. But yeah, I think there's like more places where they need to be and the content is definitely evolved to be more engaging. And then there's influencer marketing, which didn't exist really like 12 years ago. So a lot of it has changed. And then it's changing quickly within those means of advertising too. Like if you're advertising on LinkedIn, the algorithm changes very quickly too. So it's just like, it's just speeding up every day.
What's the craziest thing you've ever had to do in a campaign, like for one particular brand?
Craziest thing. I don't know. That's a great question. I guess I need to do.
I have not. never worked in consumer B2C, so I don't know some of the things that people will try.
I'm sure there's a lot of guerrilla marketing tactics that are crazy. So that would probably come from that arena, I'm sure. I think those are pretty interesting as a marketer, is like guerrilla marketing is really interesting.
So, what do you got coming up that you want to talk a little bit about? Something good.
Yeah. Well, I just got invited recently to join a group of event marketers with the Planwell Collective, and I got my hat in the mail and get to plant. They sent like gardening gloves and like a plant, like a little container for it. So I think that's really exciting. I'm big on community. I'm starting to attend a lot more events, becoming more event heavy. I'm trying to plan some events for my organization, but I also attend representing my organization. So I'm really excited about being a part of a really great group of event marketers and learning from them and taking their tips and tricks and like really doing really cool stuff. So I'm really excited about that.
Now, I don't have to tell you how jealous I am that you're in Tampa and I'm here in Pittsburgh. I think in a couple of weeks I'll be going down to Florida.
Yeah.
But you did something I'm extremely jealous of recently, right? You did a networking event on a yacht, right? So talk a little bit about that and Melissa's event that she put on.
My gosh, she's just amazing. That was a really amazing event. It was really just so different from any kind of networking event that I've been to, where people weren't there to really just like sell like what their company does or what they do. It was really about the people, and I just felt like I was able to build like really cool friendships with some of the people there. And it wasn't as large, I think, as she anticipated it being. It wasn't like as huge, but I'm a big fan of quality over quantity, so that worked out. It was so fun. And then that night, like after the yacht little tour of Tampa Bay, we got off and then we just kind of went hopping around to like different bars in the area. We played a card game and we were drinking White Claws. It was just like really fun. And then we went to like a rooftop and it was just like everyone was really talking about, I don't know, it's just like a really good vibe, really good energy with the people in that group. And then the next day we did like a little beach day. It was really, really fun. And it
Oh,
was, yeah, it was where it was like actual meaningful connections to come out of it. We might not do business together, but we definitely like made really good like soul tie connections. It was great.
oh, so it wasn't just like a 2 hour tour on the boat. It was actually
It was
like
like a
that
weekend.
plus like a whole weekend. Man,
Yeah.
now I'm even more jealous.
Next year, come
That
on.
all right. But to talk about the niche that it was focused on, right? Was it just B2B network marketing folks?
Yeah, it was B2B, like sales and marketing people, essentially. Yeah, it was a bunch of us. Sales marketing peeps.
Great. Now, so you've got the Plan Well thing coming up,
Yeah.
and you've been working in this agency, Black Box Media, right? It's Black Box
hmm
Media.
Yeah, Black
And
Box.
okay. So, what is one of the things that you'd say you do very, very well?
I would say the thing that we do really, really well is like a mama bear, hence the mom water, mom of two boys, a mama bear when it comes to like my leads. Like we protect our leads. We sequester our leads for 6 months and we protect them for it helps with brand recall, it helps with conversions, and it's something that I don't think anyone else is really doing in this space.
Talk about like what does that mean to protect your leads, though?
Yeah, so in content syndication, a lot of the times, people will say, okay, we're going to send you these leads, we're going to send you their information, they've engaged with your content, but then they'll go and resell that lead to your competitors, or they're going to have your content shared on a website or hosted on a website, not a dedicated landing page via an email campaign. So this stuff is like open sourced and people have access to it. And then you'll go see like this article that's related to something that you want to learn about. And then you're going to see 5 articles on the bottom of the screen that are from your competitors. So everything is very one to one. So it's very protected. And also, like I said, we make sure that those leads are not going to be resold or redistributed or handed out like candy. We want the client to have the best chances at converting those leads into opportunities.
I think that's good. It builds a lot of trust, like you were mentioning, and it keeps the consistency, the consistent engagement with that lead, that person. Or you talk about them as a lead, but they're a person, and they don't like getting sort of pulled around and over marketed, essentially.
Oh
So
yeah.
they
And
want
that
to just
happens a lot. And it's not just in the B2B space that happens. I know that happens in B2C. Like let's say you go to a website and you want to get like an estimate for like solar. Then you're gonna have 20 solar companies calling you.
yeah.
They're
That's
gonna
why
have
I don't do that anymore because
yeah.
I've made that mistake, and next thing you know, I'm getting 16 phone calls and emails for days.
Yeah, so like a lot of companies will do that and they'll just broker them out and they'll just like, here you go, leads for you, leads for you, leads for you, leads for you. And then that lead or that potential customer is so bombarded, and you can take this related to B2B. Like if you sign up for information because you're actually looking at getting this software, getting this technology, getting this service, whatever the case may be, you don't want 20 people calling you from 5 different companies and like all the SDRs just keep blowing you up
Right.
because you click to download this article, because now you're getting frustrated, now you're getting annoyed, now the message is getting diluted because they have different sales propositions or benefits or whatever, and now they're touched out and they're almost like numb. So like if you can protect that lead as much as possible, then it's consistency with the messaging, and you have just we're finding that our clients just have a way better experience at the end of the day. And I mean you get better ROI when you do it that way.
Right. They have more chance of not getting shut off, right, and blocked essentially through that process. All right,
Oh.
it's closing time. So you got to tell us like one thing that's going to make us all 1% better tomorrow as I finish my day.
Yeah. So I would say stop treating people like personas. If you're sending an email or running a campaign, just think about like that's actually like a person on the other end, that's receiving your message. I do a lot of copywriting myself and just like try to be very cognizant that you're writing to a person, you're writing to an individual, you're writing to a human being and not just a CMO and not just a digital marketing director or product marketing manager. It's an actual person on the other end of that message. So I think that will help you go a little bit longer of a way of shifting your tone, personalization, not be so much noise, but try to really connect with them. That would be my little bit of advice.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said for like everybody wants to do personalization at scale, right? But maybe there's a segment of your maybe there's a segment of your lead list that are high value that you say, okay, above this value, we're going to do real manual personalized messages direct to them. And the rest of them, maybe 80% of the list there, we are going to use
Mhm.
subscale because honestly, there's not enough time in the day to do personalization to 400, contacts a day, right? If you're sitting
Yeah.
down to think that you're doing research on them, et cetera, even if you're doing AI research to do something that looks really cool on paper, but when it hits somebody's ears, they're like, this doesn't sound a little, but I get you. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining me today. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks for having me.